through the week. We got some more college football on tonight, some good college basketball as well. As we are sprinting toward the college football playoff, I want to remind everybody we are going to be live streaming the first ever 12-team playoff game between Indiana taking on Notre Dame. We're going to go about 20 minutes before kickoff, stream the whole game. So find us here, YouTube, Daily Wire Plus, all that stuff. Make sure you're subscribed. Watch the game with us. We're going to be giving timestamps. We're going to be breaking it down, throwing bets out there, taking your questions and comments as well. It's a lot of fun. These are always a great time. And we thought we'd kick it off with the first one, which is going to be awesome. But speaking about kicking off, before we kick off the show officially, David, there is a Netflix series about SEC football, a Drive to Survive type series. Can you please tell the people about that?
Very similar to Drive to Survive, which Formula One does. So Netflix has announced a new series following the 2024 SEC college football season that's scheduled to be released in the summer of 2025. So they must already have some footage and must have already really produced a lot of this. But here's the kicker. Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, and Ole Miss have all opted out and passed.
I was shocked when you said Ole Miss. I feel like this is Lane Kiffin's thing, dude.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, what is this? Lane Kiffin has gotten the message and he needs to eliminate the distractions, or like, why do you think he would pass on this?
I guess. I mean, now, I know they were filming it through 2024. Now that you didn't make the playoff, I guess it's looking like a smarter move. But I feel like the content would be so great from Lane Kiffin. Maybe it is he got that message. I can understand DeBoer being at Alabama, doesn't want all these distractions. I get that, taking over for Nick Saban. Sarkisian makes sense. Kirby, it makes sense. I don't think Saban would have done it. I wonder if they view it, though, as like Hard Knocks. Like Hard Knocks, typically whenever they focus on a team, the team doesn't do well. I wonder how much of that bled into it, but I think it's going to be awesome either way.
Here's the thing with Drive to Survive, and I got it. I didn't know anything about Formula One racing before Drive to Survive came out. COVID hit. Darby Lou and I started watching Drive to Survive as a show, and we're like, wow, we got really hooked on Formula One racing, and it was awesome. And that first season, remember, Ferrari and Mercedes both passed, just like these schools are passing. When the second season came out, not only did they not pass, they saw what a success it was. Not only did they not pass on the second season, Ferrari and Mercedes were shown in the very first clips as the hook to the second season. So I just wonder if this is going to start to be a staple and if this has a ton of success and brings in a lot of money, right? Like this is going to bring in money for the schools that are doing it. And you talk about NIL and paying players.
Oh, everybody's going to watch it.
I just wonder if season 2, Kirby Smart's the first face that.
Well, I think if that affects recruiting, like what if it gives you like a boost in recruiting or something like that? Maybe.
Well, I mean,
there's an offshoot.
The first thing that's going to get brought up when it comes to this is distractions.
Sure.
Right. This would be somewhat of a distraction. And, if you're a coach and a player, I wouldn't put it past Netflix to paint you in a bad light in a certain situation. So I'd be somewhat skeptical about that if I'm a coach and a player.
Yeah, but if you're like Mississippi State, right?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. They're two different things, but, I was on Last Chance U multiple times, and the exposure that gave junior college football, not only just the places where they did them at, like Independence and East Mississippi, but junior college football in general. I know they would show things in a negative light. They kind of had to sometimes, but it brought a lot of exposure. I mean, it not only in the Mississippi League, they did it in the KJCC too, as well out there. So, I mean, we've seen a basketball version of it as well. So, I think this is going to be a smash hit. I think they're going to do another one. And it's very interesting to see if any of those schools decide, especially if let's say Texas wins the Natty this year, right? Or something like that. One of them win the Natty, Georgia wins the Natty. Maybe you could afford to have a nice little distraction of a camera crew in there. Maybe your seat isn't as hot, but we'll see. Tennessee fans have reportedly bought 42% of the tickets for the first-round playoff game at Ohio State. Mayor Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane, the WWE Hall of Famer, is going to join us to talk about the college football playoff and answer a question that has to be answered: whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. We only talk about the important.
It's not.
I'm Jay Crain, and welcome to the Wednesday with an Eye edition of Crain & Company. The SEC versus the Big Ten. Now, lately, these two have been the biggest dogs in the college football realm. If college football was Game of Thrones, these two would be like the Starks and the Lannisters squaring off in the playoff. A mega rivalry between the two most powerful families among us, the SEC and the Big Ten. Hell, just look at the media company competition between the two. The Big Ten has Fox, the SEC has ESPN. That's a rivalry all in its own. But this Saturday, we get another taste of a postseason showdown between the two giants, as Tennessee and their faithful will try and invade Columbus, Ohio, and the home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Notice I didn't say go to Columbus. I said invade, because that's what the Volunteer fans and their team are trying to do. Hell, they even have their own literal Navy. The Buckeyes, on the other hand, have the advantage of playing at home and up north, where winter is just another excuse to go outside in the cold. But Tennessee isn't exactly located in Arizona, so don't expect there to be a frostbite epidemic or lack of enthusiasm on the Vols side. We hear the back and forth from these two conference affiliates that the SEC is overrated or the Big Ten is really usually just the Big Two. But this weekend, it's the SEC's way of life versus the Big Ten's way of life. Southern speed versus northern size. Both consider themselves to be the creme de la creme of the college football crop. But at last, we get to settle it in the best place possible, on the field. So whether you're screaming Rocky Top or dotting the I, make no mistake, winter is coming, and only one group will survive. David Cone, former Michigan quarterback, my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, Blaine Crain. And look, all of college football wins in this. And I know that Tennessee is not the biggest brand in the SEC. You can make the argument that Ohio State is the biggest brand in the Big Ten, but they're both huge brands. Huge. I know, personally what you think. But both of these conferences are at the top of the sport. When we talk about going to the Super League, right? Not that nobody from the ACC or the Big 12 will be able to come along, and I'm not trying to disrespect them, but regardless if you're a fan of those conferences or not, I think it's pretty obvious that the Big Ten and the SEC run the show. So what a better way to kick this thing off this weekend than have a big brand in the SEC go on the road to Big Ten country and play Ohio State. I love it. This is as close to Game of Thrones as we're going to get. Just the truth.
Look, the winner of this game will be the team that executes their game plan the best. We all know that, but that's boring stuff. We already previewed the game, right? We're going to do it again tomorrow. This whole narrative and this lead up it's fascinating to me. And remember, a couple of weeks ago, we thought we might get several first round playoff matchups between the SEC and the Big Ten, maybe a couple in Big Ten stadiums, a couple in SEC stadiums. This was the only one we got, but it's one that we wanted because this is a juicy matchup. I think these teams are very even. I think they're very comparable. It was going to be interesting to see which one got the home field advantage. This one's going to be in the horseshoe. But this whole thing of SEC fans care so much that they infiltrated the ticket buy-up, and they're going to be 42% of the stadium. And then on the flip side of that is Tennessee is going to have to come up and play in the cold weather in Columbus, and they're still practicing indoors. They're not even remotely prepared for this game. This whole back and forth between the fan bases, I'm just loving this right now.
It's perfect. It's a mega matchup, and again, it's played at a college campus. Even if it was played at Neyland, it would be as exciting as being played at
Which,
Ohio.
think about those two elements I just said. A lot of the back and forth fighting right now, neither one of them would be the case if this was a neutral site game. You wouldn't be talking about which fan base bought up a bunch of tickets, and you really wouldn't be talking about the elements of playing out in the cold where one team is used to that and the other team isn't, because it'd be at an indoor stadium.
Well, it's a great point, and that's why we love it, and that's why when they said they were going to do it, we were all for it. Some people even want the second round if you get a bye to play that game at your college campus. Blaine, I went on Outkick earlier with Trey Wallace talking about college football. Well, he hates you, but no, I'm just kidding. He only just slightly dislikes you. And we were talking about Ohio State and Tennessee, and he brought up, why does it feel weird for Ohio State? Does it feel like that Tennessee is more together when it comes to like team to fan base as opposed to Ohio State because of the little bit of the fragmented relationship between Ryan Day and it seems like the Ohio State fans? Now, I don't know what effect that would have on the team. I don't know how the team exactly feels about Ryan Day. I think they're going to go out there and play their ass off for him. But do you think maybe the connectiveness of Tennessee as a unit, as an organism, traveling on the road, do you think that'll have some effect on the game when you look at Ohio State and some Ohio State fans want Ryan Day out? because there's just something about Ryan Day, man. Like, what is it? What is it about Ryan Day? Is he just not likable? Like, and there's some other guys that are not likable, but they win so much that it doesn't matter. Like, you could say Nick Saban wasn't likable that much, and there's a side to him that you really didn't see, but he won a lot. I would say Brian Kelly's kind of the same thing. Some guy. Do you think the fragmented relationship between the fan base and the coach will have any effect on the atmosphere Saturday and maybe even the on-the-field play?
Are you asking me that do Tennessee fans like Josh Heupel more than Ohio State fans like Ryan?
Well, in a sense, that's part of what I'm asking you. Really what I'm asking you is, do you think that will be a net positive advantage for Tennessee? Because, like, what happens if Ohio State comes out and they go down 7-0? Like, all of a sudden, the difference between the reaction of Tennessee fans to Josh Heupel if Ohio State goes up 7-0 compared to if Tennessee goes up 7-0 and the reaction of Ohio State fans to Ryan Day, I think his world's different. I think you're going to see instant panic. And does that flow into the mind of the player?
Does it ever change now since what Kirk Herbstreit came out and said on national television?
True.
That Ohio State fans were booing and were turning on their team earlier in the game when they weren't being successful as they want to. Now do you see a different light in fans after hearing that? If Ohio State does get down early, since Kirk Herbstreit said that, are they going to act in a different way? I could somewhat see that. But I do think, let's talk about treason for a second. What do you consider, if you're an Ohio State fan, and we said 42% right now, Tennessee, and apparently that number is going up. And if that number keeps going up, is it treason if you're an Ohio State fan and you sell your ticket to a Tennessee fan in your first 12 playoff team game?
Well, treason's a strong word. I don't consider it high treason. Maybe treason is the right word. Here's the way I look at it. If you went out of your way to sell it to a Tennessee fan out of spite for Ryan Day or because you lost to Michigan, to me, I think that could be labeled somewhat treasonous. But there's other scenarios where maybe the first person who hit you up about him was a Tennessee fan. Maybe the Tennessee fan said he'd pay you $150 more than what the Ohio State fan would. But this, again, losing to Michigan, I think opened the door for all that. The biggest knock against Ryan Day, if I'm Ross Bjork, the AD, is that my money makers are the fans. That's who make me the money. That's who buys the tickets, the season tickets and the regular game tickets. Those are the people that buy the hot dogs and the nachos and the jerseys and want to send their kids to Ohio State because that's their team and that's where they win. The minute that starts getting affected, then I think Ryan Day's in really, really big trouble outside of not just beating Michigan. But if you did it out of spite, I think it's treason. If not, out of circumstance, I don't think it's treason.
Okay, so a couple things here. Yes, losing to Michigan this year was the worst loss Ryan Day has had as a football coach. Right? There was no shame in losing to Michigan. Last year they went 15-0, won the national championship. There's no shame in losing at Oregon on the road this year. That's the only undefeated team in college football. You're on the road. You lost by 1 point on this kind of freakish sort of ending. They got NCAA rules changed. Losing to this Michigan team with a quarterback who could barely complete a forward pass, you lost 13-10 with a game plan that I can't make heads or tails.
Emotional.
Worst loss of his football career. And to your point about, getting out and what Kirk Herbstreit's comments, when they were down 10-0 to Penn State and came back and won that game, that one was on the road, right? That was at Penn State. There's just a part of me, guys, I'm having a hard time believing that we're talking about one of the proudest fan bases in college football. In the Buckeyes. They're going to be featured in the very first 12-team playoff game at home. I think maybe some of this is just subterfuge.
And
I think they're going to be
David, I agree with you if they weren't selling season tickets.
How do we know?
Tennessee.
How do we know, man? I don't know. What if we get in there and there's 5% of that stadium is orange?
See,
and
that's
all of this was a lie, and they're rocking from the get-go, and Tennessee can't get a first down for 2.5 quarters. I wouldn't be surprised.
Why start this lie? I don't even know.
It's propaganda. What do you mean?
It's just like these people around the country who are talking about Die Hard in a Christmas movie. I don't know why they hate life. Okay?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
I don't know why
they hate that.
Christmas.
Look, I got to see it first.
Yeah.
I've got to see it. And if it goes down like some people are saying, because I know there's propaganda out there, college football is one of the best, especially the media, of putting propaganda out there. It's become a big part of the college football realm that we live in. But I've got to see it first because, like you said, so much history, so much tradition. And I know if it was an SEC team, even if they didn't like the head coach, if they got to host that first game, they're filling that bad boy up. And I know Big Ten country loves their college football as well. I would not put it past them for this just to be a talking point going into the game or kind of piling on Ryan Day. But we'll see. We want to know what you think. If you're an Ohio State fan and you haven't called in or you've called in before, we want to hear what you think today as well. The phone line is going to open up at 2:45 p.m. Central. It's 1-855-236-3228. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Let's go ahead to the chat here quickly.
All right, chat, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. We're going to start the day off with Smash the Numbers. What is going on? I just checked. Ohio State tickets on the 50-yard line are going for $137. To get in the door for Notre Dame is around $400. The prices for Ohio State games are dropping like a rock.
Wow.
Well, it's and I've seen other prices, not be as crazy. But I think that could be a symptom of the time frame that we're in. Think about it. A lot of these guys didn't know their team was going to make the college football playoff. It's Christmas time. You've had travel plans for a while that you probably can't break. I know the economy's not great, but you've spent money on presents and stuff like that. I don't know how much finances you have left to be able to go to a game. I think there's other circumstances outside of just the inner hatred of Ryan Day that is causing some of these ticket prices to be low. I mean, again, it's maybe some people say, listen, your biggest Christmas present this year, we're going to buy tickets to the game. Like, we're going or whatever. I think you're going to see more people go to these games after Christmas, right, as opposed to locking in one before Christmas because so many plans have been.
But those are neutral site games. You got to travel for those. Like, show me the guy, because I want to meet him. Show me the guy who's a season ticket holder for the Buckeyes or Notre Dame or any one of these programs who is like, it's the very first 12-team playoff we're playing at home. I'm going to sell these tickets.
Yeah.
Show me the guy. I want to meet him.
If you got season tickets, you're not hurting for money.
No.
You're not.
No, but there's not a lot of poor people with season tickets to Ohio.
You're like, man, I can make $150 and there's going to be a guy in bright orange Rocky Top orange sitting in my seat for the first playoff game in the horseshoe? Yeah. Who is this guy?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Let's go to a $2 donation from Matt. Appreciate it, Matt. He says, Ryan Day will ish the bed. He always does. He's never going to win a natty at Ohio State.
It's just like, I'm telling you, it's Ryan Day. There's just some people are just easy to not like. Like there's some people like, man, it's so easy to like that guy. Like he walks in a room.
Shane Beamer.
They always say this about when they're like, whenever I watch like one of those true crime documentaries and somebody's like dies, like, oh God, she lit up a room. Apparently just everybody lights up a room. Those people just come in and light up a room. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, she was in and out of prison and, it's like, but she light up a room and she walked in there. There's some people that are the opposite of that. It's like they dim the room. Like, do you think when Ryan Day walks into like the coaching convention and rooms like, hey, shut up, he's in here?
I don't know. He's my favorite Buckeye coach of all time.
I bet he is.
Yeah, I bet. Let's go to TE. What's up, man? The issue with the Ohio State fans is the same as most Texas fans. Most of them expect to be on a bye this weekend. All of a sudden, there's another game, 3 more games to buy tickets for. Cost could be an issue? ?
Oh, wait. Is that what you were saying? Is that what you were saying? Is that the Buckeyes fans thought that they had locked in a first-round bye so they wouldn't be playing this week?
Well, you could look at it that way. I just think maybe they, a lot of people are like, we don't know if our team's going to be in the playoff. And then you lose that game to Oregon, you're like, oh, no. Because going into the year, I was like, man, 10-2, like if you're worse than 10-2, there's no way in hell you're getting in outside of doing what Clemson did and kind of backdooring your way into a conference championship game and getting that auto bid. So I just wonder if people are like, I'm not going to go ahead and just throw away my Christmas plans. And we got to go see, Gigi and Pops. And Uncle Gustav.
Then what are Tennessee fans
Uncle Gustav?
Uncle Gustav? What, Tennessee fans? What are they doing?
Because they're clearly, they're the ones
I think Tennessee fans said, screw Christmas. This is Christmas. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? You know how long they've waited for this? Ohio State's won natties. Tennessee's been waiting since 98.
Yeah.
98. Bro, that's like 1,000 years. If you look at it mathematically. All right, one more. We got to move.
Let's get a $5 donation from Rocco. Appreciate it. He says, I'll pay $1,000 to any fan who hacks the sound system at Ohio State and plays Rocky Top.
Ooh.
Well, isn't there... I'm trying to remember. The report came out that was like the NCAA was like, we're going to control the music.
Well, I
wasn't
think
it
that
something like
the
that?
away team has to get their video played when they run out, I think.
And that's it, though?
I don't know. I can't confirm that.
Well, I know the band's got to be going. Right? Both bands got to be.
I hope so.
You'd think. All right, let's move on here. But before we do, all right, look, we know it's the holiday season. you may pack on a couple pounds. Maybe you had one too many glasses of eggnog. All right, maybe you ate the cookies before Santa had a chance to come down the chimney. And in that case, you're selfish and you need to reevaluate your priorities. But if you want to get back in shape, all right, especially with beach season on the horizon, I talked about Destin yesterday, and you don't want to deal with a personal trainer or having to adapt to different environments. You just want to be able to work out, not get burnout, and handle your business within the privacy of your own home or really wherever you want. Well, check out Fitbod. All right, what is Fitbod? Well, it's pretty simple. All right, it is a personalized workout routine based on your goals, your fitness level, and your available equipment. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket, but better and less expensive. All right, it works different parts of the body. It's not going to burn you out. We know sometimes guys want to go in there. It's arm day every day. I get it. All right, I understand. But you got to keep the body guessing. All right, you can join Fitbod today to get your personalized workout plan and 25% off your subscription. Or you can just try the app free at fitbod.me/booster. That's fitbod.me/booster. You want to lose those holiday pounds? Just check it out. It's really efficient, works smarter and harder, as one of my cohorts always says. All right, Coney, we got a really fun interview here with WWE Hall of Famer, now mayor of Knox County. Speaking of Tennessee, he used to go by Kane. Now he's Mayor Glenn Jacobs. Let's roll this beautiful footage. We'll get to phone calls on the other side. Boy, do we have a special treat for you guys today. Not only are we joined by Kane, also known as the mayor of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs, but we are also joined by his former nemesis, the Undertaker, a.k.a. my brother attempting to dress up as the Undertaker. He's a dragon. He's a tree.
Destruction.
He's a wrestler.
Destruction of David must come today.
He's borderline schizophrenic, but he's...
Borderline?
Yeah. There ain't nothing borderline about it. If we do something, we do it all the way.
Are you the Undertaker or are you what? Good Charlotte?
That's what I'm saying. Or in the Ramones or something. So you're the Undertaker, right?
I'm the Undertaker.
So y'all go gang up. All right.
Yeah. How does that make you feel, Mr. Mayor?
The Undertaker never wore white kicks in the ring, so I'm down with the outfit, maybe except for the footwear.
Well, 4 people just got fired when you said that.
Yeah, you blew it. And now this whole
got a frame from the chest up.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Come on, guys.
That's exactly right. All joking aside, we got a very serious topic to get into here at the end when it comes to a certain action movie and whether it is technically a Christmas movie or not. But again, don't want to start throwing the bows yet. I'm talking about something that probably brings you a lot of personal blossoming joy. And that is Tennessee being in the first ever college football 12-team playoff. Can you tell me just your overall reaction to being in and then where you're seated now having to go on the road to play Ohio State? And if you win that one, congratulations. You get hit with an aluminum baseball bat when you walk in the door because you got to play Oregon next. Not that Tennessee can't win it, but how did you feel about both of those things?
Yeah, obviously thrilled that Tennessee is in the first college football playoff. Was really hoping that they would get a home game. Just historic. I couldn't imagine the atmosphere at Neyland Stadium. But nevertheless, you go to Ohio State. They stand a really good chance against Ohio State because, where Ohio State is weak, Tennessee is strong. You look at Ohio State's offensive line, they haven't really been very good. Tennessee has one of the best defensive lines in the country. It looks like the offense is finally clicking again. Nico's been looking pretty good towards the end of the season. So I think it's going to be a good game, and I think that the Vols have a very good chance to knock off Ohio State and then play Oregon in the next round. I don't know if I would consider Oregon an aluminum baseball bat or not, maybe a number 2 pencil, but nevertheless, that should be a great game. But really looking forward to Saturday and seeing the Vols advance.
Man, I just always wish I'd remember to bring that number 2 pencil to the ACT. I forgot every time I took it. I do want to ask before we kick it over to my colleague here. I know his opinions are strong on everything, but especially the diehard thing. As far as the ticket situation going, because our friend Trey Wallace over at Outkick did some digging I saw on social media, and basically the way he portrayed it, and I don't want to misquote him, is that they just sell the tickets like it's a normal game. It's not like you get a certain allotment or whatever. They're just selling the tickets, and apparently like 37% of the tickets on StubHub have been bought by Tennessee fans, and 34% have been bought by Ohio State fans. Are we going to see an invasion of Columbus, Ohio, of Tennessee Orange? Because I know how many Jell-O shots those people bought out in Omaha, and I don't think the creators of Jell-O have any more Jell-O left.
Well, Tennessee travels very well. I think you could definitely see a lot of Vols fans at the Horseshoe, which would be a glorious thing. If you turn it orange instead of that, kind of nasty silver and red, it'd be a beautiful sight.
Well, what a great segue to former Michigan quarterback David Cohn talking about nasty red Columbus, Ohio.
Well, Mayor, there was a lot of discussion on whether or not Tennessee should or would get to host a college football playoff game. They were in contention right there to the end. They're going to go on the road, obviously, to Columbus, like you mentioned. How confident are Tennessee fans right now in their young quarterback, in Nico, to be able to go on the road to another one of the most historic venues in college football? Everyone's talking about weather. I mean, heck, it gets pretty cold here in the state of Tennessee too, even though in Columbus it is a little bit different. How confident are Tennessee fans right now to be able to go on the road and get this road victory?
Well, I mean, I think the major advantage here is Tennessee plays in the SEC. And yeah, granted, this is a little bit different. This is a big game. There's a lot of pressure, but Tennessee plays Alabama. Tennessee plays Georgia at Georgia, the most packed conference in America. So when you think about talent level and you think about hostile environments, Tennessee's used to that because they play that all year long in the regular season. There are some, obviously, think about teams like Boise State, which has a great team this year, SMU, teams like that just aren't used to this. Right. I don't think, if they are, that's wonderful, but just as a matter of experience, a team like Tennessee is going to be used to going into a place like Athens, Georgia, and playing the Bulldogs. One of the top teams in the country, extremely hostile environment. So this is not going to be something out of the ordinary for them. Then the weather, we'll see how that plays out. But as you said, it's not like I'm sitting here in Palm Springs right now in Knoxville either. So
yeah.
I think they'll be all right.
Well, we talked about the Tennessee-Ohio State matchup, which will be a great matchup. But this kind of look a little bit outside of the playoff bracket. You got Clemson versus Texas, SMU versus Penn State, Indiana versus Notre Dame. Do you see any other upsets happening in that first round, and which ones do you like?
Man, who knows? I don't. This is just my personal opinion. I don't think Notre Dame is as strong as their ranking would indicate. They had some stumbles early on in the season, especially with the Northern Illinois game. But even with the game at Texas A&M, and they go in A&M and beat A&M, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Notre Dame's awesome." Well, A&M actually wasn't that great at that point in the season, and but I just don't think Notre Dame is as good as everybody. Or as kind of the sports media would have us believe. So I think that could be one. You look at Boise State, you look at SMU. Again, if these are both their quality teams, it's just can they step up to that level of competition that they don't face week in and week out? Not to say they haven't played some good teams, but it's just a little different when you get to this level. I don't know whether we'll see any, and I wouldn't call Tennessee an upset. Okay,
I wouldn't either.
You're at Ohio State, and Ohio State's 8th, Tennessee's 9th, but that's not like a huge reach. I think some of the other teams are having a more difficult time than Tennessee would.
I can't believe it's 7 right now.
Yeah.
It's still a full touchdown spread.
It stayed there. Well, you brought up, obviously we got to remember, if you were to, in the past, see a postseason game and you're like, it's a 7.5 point spread, that meant a little bit more because you're playing on a neutral site.
Exactly.
But as opposed to playing at Ohio State, well, even if they think that helps them a field goal, then that's going to matter.
So let me ask you this then. If the locations were flipped, and they very well could have been, we were talking about this, whether or not Tennessee was going to be able to host in Knoxville, what do you think the spread would be?
I think it would be probably Tennessee, Ohio State, neutral site. I would say Ohio.
Not neutral site, in Knoxville.
Oh, in Knoxville?
Yeah,
I think it would be flipped. I think
full touchdown.
I think Tennessee would be a full touchdown. I think if it was neutral site, it'd be Ohio State minus 3.5.
Okay,
I think it'd be a pick.
Then going back, the intangible is how many Tennessee fans are there, and how much does it feel like a home environment because you have tens of thousands of people wearing orange as opposed to an overwhelming number of Ohio State fans there. So that might be the telling factor in the game, right?
Well, and you brought this up earlier, and we say this all the time on the show. Like, what makes going on the road in a loud, hostile environment hard? It's the communication. You don't have to break 90,000 fans' tackles during the game. It's about the communication. So if you're Tennessee and you know how to communicate when somebody's being loud, it can negate that advantage, obviously, but then there's something about going on the road. This is why I think this may be the perfect recipe for Tennessee, because you're going to have some Tennessee fans there, so it's not going to be as loud when you're on offense as it would be if this was a regular season game and the tickets were allotted that way. Plus, going on the road, y'all know this, we all know this, can galvanize you. Mm-hmm. It could actually narrow your focus because you're in a new place, right? Your mission is a little bit thinner than, seeing the people you normally see and sleeping in your own bed and all this stuff. I like Tennessee in this game, man. And I think actually playing on the road, now I know they would rather play at home, but I think this Tennessee team is built to be able to go win this game. I really believe that. Yeah,
Mayor, we know Dylan Sampson wasn't among the Heisman Trophy finalists. That award went out this weekend, kind of came down to Travis Hunter. And Ashton Jeanty. Did you have any thoughts on the Heisman Trophy this past weekend?
Not so much on that, but as you said, the Doak Walker Award, the guy's the best running back in the country statistically.
What are we doing?
Yeah, just, you look at he just took games over. 22 touchdowns he ends up the season with, leading rusher in the SEC, SEC Offensive Player of the Year, all these things. So I just, I feel that he should have been, again, Heisman's a little different because you're looking at all positions, but when you're looking at the running back position, golly, Dylan Sampson is right up there. That kid is an absolute stud. And part of the reason that Tennessee is in this situation is because when passing game was floundering, Dylan Sampson was taking the entire team on his back and taking them into the end zone.
Man, he's such a quality back, too. Yeah. I believe he's from Baton Rouge as well. How crazy is that if you're an LSU fan looking at that, seeing that guy go ball? But all right, let's get to the serious stuff. This is a debate that seems like it's raged on for thousands of years, even though the Die Hard movie isn't that old. So it comes down to this, and we have some split opinions here. I want to start with yours, Mr. Mayor. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? The floor is yours.
No, it is not. It is a great movie. Okay, no doubt about that. It is set during the Christmas season. It's a wonderful action movie. However, it's not about Christmas. It's about terrorists and them being foiled during the Christmas season. However, as I say, what would make it a Christmas movie is if and also the reason it's set at Christmas is really because they wanted security to be lax at the building, right? Well, that could happen if the building is renovated or whatever. However, what would make it a Christmas movie is if Hans Gruber and his group had broken in to the plaza to steal, say, advanced weaponry, a surface-to-air missile to shoot down Santa's sleigh and deprive the world of Christmas spirit. Bruce Willis stops him. John McClane stops him. Bam! Christmas movie. As it is, it's good guy versus terrorist that happens to take place during the Christmas season.
It is an action movie that takes place during the Christmas season. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I was on the fence coming in here. All right. And I wanted to not think too deep about it to be persuaded. That's a hell of an opening statement. That one's going to be hard. Does anybody here think that it is a Christmas movie?
So you were on the fence, and now you're swayed, and you've only heard one half of the argument.
Well, I'm saying, right, I haven't fully made my decision, David. This isn't the final answer on who wants to be.
First of all, why are you giving me the death stare over there? All right, Undertaker. Let's just talk a little bit about the origins of this, right? Mayor, you've been very vocal the last couple of weeks that Die Hard is, in fact, not a Christmas movie. And so I use that as an opportunity to stoke the flames and put my previous get off my lawn underneath your post, which thank you for resharing that. It's just not every day that I get to debate one of my favorite wrestlers growing up on whether or not Die Hard is or is not a Christmas movie. And so you were kind enough to join us and to have sort of a cordial debate that I think we should put online and settle this once and for all. Wouldn't you guys agree with that?
I would agree with that. And it's way better than Captain Insano.
Yes, exactly. That was a whole different situation.
He was very
with the
discourteous to you.
I will be arguing the point that Die Hard is, in fact, a Christmas movie. Now, Mayor, I will concede my argument, and I will concede that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, provided that we could come to some sort of agreement on the definition of a Christmas movie that involves any story which revolves around the life of Jesus Christ. At the end of the day, that's the reason for the season. But
True.
Society has set this secular standard where Frosty the Snowman and flying reindeer are what constitutes a Christmas movie. So I cannot, in good conscience, allow Bad Santa to be a Christmas movie while Die Hard gets excluded. Now, I'm going to start here with a couple of the worst arguments.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
What's so funny is Bad Santa is my chief of staff's favorite Christmas movie. So there you go.
You need a new chief of staff.
Well,
I recommend
David, please, before you continue, it's Snow Person. Please check your privilege.
Snow Person. Okay, not Snowman. Exactly. Frosty apparently.
Frosty the Snow Person.
I'd like to break down the two worst arguments, okay, for why Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. The first one is because Bruce Willis said it's not. I thought we learned during COVID not to allow Hollywood celebrities to be the arbiters of truth in our society. The fact Bruce Willis doesn't think it's a Christmas movie actually strengthens my resolve in my argument. If we're going to listen to anyone on this, it should be the director, John McTiernan, or the writer. And frankly, I don't even care what they have to say. Once you make a work of art and you put it out there in the world, I don't care what you think about it. I watch this every Christmas time and I drink hot chocolate. Can you imagine if I said Lady Ballers wasn't a sports movie? You guys would say, look at this guy dressed in pink, dressed up as a girl, but that's a whole different plug. The second worst argument is that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's just an action movie that's set at Christmas. If you change the setting, then you would therefore change parts of the story. Well, yeah, that's what it means to alter something. If you change aspects of it. Let me give you a good example. Kevin McAllister's parents could have left him home alone for any vacation. They could have left him home for a summer vacation, 4th of July, not during Christmas time, and we would never watch Home Alone during Christmas. But that's not the reason that the movie was written around Christmas time. It's to be reinforced by the Christmas season and reinforce those themes of redemption, family unity, and forgiveness. That's the reason that we see Kevin McAllister every Christmas time, and I'm glad that they wrote it as such. And quite frankly, just on the violence point, because some people think that the violence in Die Hard sets it apart, and that's why it's not a Christmas movie. Home Alone is far more violent. I think we can agree. You got a couple of guys calling themselves the Wet Bandits who are torturing a little kid. It's completely sadistic. But apart from that, back to the themes of redemption, family unity, and forgiveness. That's what makes Die Hard a Christmas movie. It's not that the movie opens and closes with a Christmas song or the fact that it's even set at a Christmas Eve party. What you have here is you have an estranged husband flying across the country to visit his wife and tell her that he's sorry. That's the most important moment in the movie.
She never heard me say I'm sorry. I want you to tell her that, Al. I want you to tell her that John said that he was sorry. Okay?
The fact he saves her life from terrorists, that is trivial, that is secondary. You have a New York husband flying across the country to Los Angeles and saying to his wife, I am sorry, I was wrong. And, if that to me is not only a Christmas movie, that to me is a Hallmark Christmas movie that you would watch on the Hallmark Channel every single holiday season.
First off, I felt like you needed to get that out. I thought you articulated that really well. Couple things I want to ask you about your point here. And I think you make some very salient points. I'm back on the fence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting there writing them up. Here's what I'll ask you, though. You brought up that the fighting the terrorism and the action part really doesn't matter because it's more about the man flying across to tell his wife he's sorry. Mm-hmm. So then would you categorize Die Hard as a rom-com, not an action movie?
Well, there are some funny moments in it. I'll be honest with you. I laugh, but I laugh at Quentin Tarantino movies, and I wouldn't call those comedies. I do think the more interesting debate is, not is whether or not Die Hard a Christmas movie or not, but, should John McClane capitulate to his wife, who really values a high-powered career more than raising the family in a nuclear family setting. That to me is a more interesting debate. But that much aside, he flies across the country, says that he's sorry. to me qualifies as a Hallmark Christmas movie. One other point that I wanted to make is, people talk about the only aspects that it has to do with Christmas are that it's set during that time. It's a Wonderful Life is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, but less than 40% of that movie is set during Christmas time. So at least Die Hard should get credit for being set entirely during the Christmas season. Am I wrong?
No, again, I think you bring up some salient points. Go ahead, Mr.
Those
Mayor.
are great points. I would say about It's a Wonderful Life, that's settled law, though. So you can't touch that one.
That's what I'm trying to settle law here.
Yeah, Look, we're gonna try and not treat.
But the point remains, like, you would get offended if someone said It's a Wonderful Life is just a flashback story to a guy who's trying to save his town from being overtaken by Pottersville. It only has to do with Christmas at the very end. You would be offended, as would I, right?
It's a good point.
To be said.
Yeah, I mean, look, David, that's pretty good. All right, Blake. Good luck following that. Hope you black out.
Oh God, I'm so sick of hearing it already, David. I'm just so sick of hearing it already. One, to start off with, it's hard for me to believe you're a Christmas movie when you got released in the summer. Right? You think if it's a Christmas movie, let's release it around Christmas time. Ooh. And let's talk about genre and tone real quick. Die Hard's a movie filled with action, explosions, shootouts, terrorists. Does that sound like Christmas to you? Not to me. Usually Christmas, it's warm, it's festive, it's magical. Nothing about Die Hard screams to me Christmas movie. And let's go to Christmas. It's just a backdrop, right? It's almost incidental. It's just at a Christmas party, what the mayor said, and they wanted security to be lax. So that's two things. Let's talk about themes, all right? You want to bring up how much of family is it really about, Dave?
Yeah, well, he's flying across the country to get his family back, to tell his wife that he's sorry so they can raise their children together.
Die Hard centers around survival, heroics, and revenge. That's what Die Hard's about.
Redemption and forgiveness.
Are any of those things about Christmas?
Family unity. Redemption.
Redemption?
Okay? Don't be talking to me about violence either. Have you seen the last third of Home Alone? Joe Pesci's trying to kill that kid.
This just
trying to bite his fingers off.
This just feels like we're arguing who should get in the playoff between Notre Dame, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. So there's got to be a head-to-head tiebreaker. Here's what I'm thinking, and maybe let me just throw this antidote out there.
I'm going to interrupt again. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I do have to say this.
Go ahead.
You're talking about like bombs going off and these things. If you've ever been in the kitchen, my kitchen at Christmas time when my wife and daughter are making Christmas dinner, you would see the same thing. Okay,
yeah.
So there you go. I'm going to forgive that part of the argument.
No, so what is it? Let me just tell. Maybe there's a tiebreaker here, something that can kind of slice it when the margins are this thin. What was the name of the tower in Die Hard?
Nakatomi Plaza.
What is that Japanese?
And Christmas doesn't begin until
Japanese?
Hans Gruber falls from Nakatomi Plaza.
Let me ask you, if it's Yakatomi Noka Palace, Plaza, whatever, is that Japanese or Chinese?
Yes.
They don't celebrate Christmas.
Well, that's why that office is in LA.
I'm just saying, is there a head-to-head tiebreaker we can go off of? I'm just trying to find something. All right.
I don't know. You gotta be the judge.
Any more closing arguments here? Young Undertaker.
It's a Christmas movie. Why wasn't it marketed as a Christmas movie?
Well, I can't speak to that.
Because it's not, David.
I didn't have any say in when the movie got released. If it's not a Christmas movie, why do I watch it every Christmas? And I'm filled with Christmas spirit.
They do play it.
Watch it this
You got
weekend.
problems, dog.
I do have. I won't argue that I don't have problems.
But like they do, I mean, to your point, like they do show it more on like cable during Christmas.
Yeah, of course.
Like, is there
like they do all Christmas movies?
Like, when does football get played on? During
Which
football.
Really, maybe that is what the definition is. Like any movie that TBS can get away with playing every single year. Mayor, I mean, what do you say to that?
Well, I mean, then nothing compares to A Christmas Story because they have.
That's exactly right.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
That's exactly
happens to be my favorite Christmas movie.
It's up there.
So what got you so hot and bothered about this so that you were posting on social media in the first place? Because this really caught my attention that you were adamant this movie should not be considered a Christmas movie.
Yeah, so it is my personal opinion that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. And it was funny because I put that out. I put a poll on Twitter of your favorite Christmas movies. And obviously the Twitter or X polls are flawed because you can only put poor choices, which kind of stinks. But nevertheless, but I did have to preface it by saying Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Well, my phone starts blowing up from personal friends just reaching out to me. Not only is it a Christmas movie, it's my favorite Christmas movie. Yeah. So when that happened, then I had to get out the oversized oar and start stirring the pot as much as I could.
Have you been swayed at all by arguments made here today?
Here is my final opinion. I actually don't care if Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I believe that people get to choose. That's what I'm all about, right? Is free choice. So if you want to think it's a Christmas movie, wonderful, and it's your favorite Christmas movie, that's great. It really doesn't matter to me. The most important thing to me is that everybody has a very Merry Christmas, and hopefully everybody gets the Red Ryder BB gun as a present.
Definitely. And before we get you out of here, I've got to ask, can you give me a prediction, a score, Tennessee, Ohio State?
Oh, man. I'm going to go with 30-27 Tennessee.
God. So that would be the over.
I like that.
Right? Yeah.
Don't hate it. You know what? That feels like an overtime score to me. Ooh. That feels like some sort of an overtime score to me. Like it's 20 to 20.
The field goal, the other one.
Yeah, like it's 20 to 20 going into overtime. I don't know. But Mr. Mayor, thanks so much again for joining us. I know how busy you are, and this time of year, again, like you said, regardless of what you think Die Hard is, we know you're going to watch it, A, and then B, hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. But thanks so much for joining us once again.
Thank you all very much. And yes, I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, even though Ohio State fans, y'all heard them. And let us know in the comments.
All right, David, only one way to settle this.
Yeah.
Now I know I won.
We appreciate you guys. Let us know in the comments what y'all think. We'll check y'all later. All right. Let us know. What do you think? Is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? Or could you just not take Blaine serious when he was dressed up like that?
Get over here.
I 100% couldn't. The phone lines are open right now, 1-855-236-3228. We want to hear from you. But first, we talked about buying tickets. How can I get there? Maybe I find out last minute I can go. Something opened up, but I'm running out of time. There's only one entity to use when it comes to buying tickets to live sporting events, live concerts, any type of event. If you want to filter out the fluff, not have to deal with the BS, you need to check out our friends over at Game Time. They take the guesswork out of buying tickets. It's very simple. You go to your app store on your phone, computer, or something else cool, I don't know. You download the Game Time app, you create an account, use code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, for $20 off your first purchase. Again, download the app, create an account, use that redeem code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, for $20 off. If you're a Tennessee fan, maybe wants to go up to Ohio State game, maybe you're an SMU fan in Dallas that wants to take that trip up to Happy Valley, go check them out today. Download that app. Use that code BOOSTER to get that $20 off. What time is it, fellas?
Game time.
Game time. Would you please be on cue and ready to go, Blaine? If I throw you the alley-oop, damn it, get your eyes up, catch it, and dunk it.
You're right, Coach.
Expect better from you.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to NFL best and worst. We're going to get off my lawn. We'll get to the chat and then phones. David, let's start with you. You tower of a man. What was your best in the NFL?
Well, I was really, the whole week I was thinking Josh Allen. I'm going to do Josh Allen for best and worst. The whole Bills-Lions game, which may be a Super Bowl preview. Let's just be honest with each other. And I had to play against this guy twice in fantasy. But we've talked about Josh Allen a lot this season. We really could pick him every week with the performances he's been having. So I decided I'm going to go with Devontae Adams. You know, like this situation playing for the Raiders, it's not looking great. Gets traded, reunited with Aaron Rodgers. Gets a chance to play with him. It's going even worse with the Jets. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy goes off for 9 receptions, 198 yards, second most yards in his career, 2 touchdowns, a long of 71. Looked like vintage Devontae Adams. And I have to say, watching him perform, I was like, man, I'm happy for the guy. Yeah. I'm happy for the guy. So what a performance from him. And really, Aaron Rodgers was throwing dots too. How this team's 4-10, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, and the one catch Devontae Adams made on the sideline was just, I mean, he makes a bunch of incredible catches. The one that they scored on the touchdown to give him the lead late against the Jags was huge, but he's just an absolute freak show. My best is Grant DuBose from the Dolphins. Got carted off the field. Really, really scary moment. If you were watching that Dolphins game, I think he was on the field 15, 20 minutes. They carted him off. They took his basically everything off pretty much except his pants and stuff like that. But He's going home after spending a couple days in the hospital, cleared to travel, I believe, as well. So not any lingering paralysis or anything like that. That type of hit to the head, man, just scares the hell out of you. But glad to see Grant back on his feet.
Absolutely. My best, the guy who's actually in the running for MVP right now with Josh Allen, that is Lamar Jackson. And I know it's the Giants, but did he cook the Giants? Sorry, back there, Hustine. But 21 of 25, almost a perfect passing rating, 5 touchdowns through the air, and also added 70 rushing yards. And he's close to eclipse the 6,000-plus career mark in rushing yards. And you know who has that? Guy we talked about the other day, that is Michael Vick.
What was your worst?
My worst, when it comes to Geno Smith in Seattle, you couldn't think it'd get much worse, but don't worry, Sam Howell has something to say. Came in, I believe it was 4 of 15 for passing with 30 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. It's bad right now, the quarterback position for Seattle, and I don't think it's getting any better.
My worst is what's happened with Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. I almost, on my best, was like, I was wrong about the draft pick with the Falcons deciding to take Penix. If you haven't heard, Michael Penix is going to be the starting quarterback now for the Atlanta Falcons that are trailing the Bucs in that division. Finally going to get his shot. I believe over the last 4, it may have been 5 games, Kirk Cousins has 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions. I know he's coming off an injury. That's why, given him, the contract that he got to go there at this stage in his career, you question that, and then obviously they didn't look super confident in it, drafting Michael Penix Jr. But I'm excited as hell to see. This isn't a worst because I think Penix is going to be bad. I'm excited to see him. I think it's a worst because Kirk Cousins has been so bad, and I know there's other problems they have. But when you look at some of the weapons on the Falcons, right? I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, God, you got Kyle Pitts, right, who's a monster. You got Drake London, who's a hell of a player. You got Bijan Robinson and Algier as the backup. I know the offensive line isn't perfect, but just bad.
I told you guys, I think Michael Penix Jr. is the best pure thrower of the football I've seen come out of the college game since Joe Burrow, really. So I think his game, if he can stay healthy, is going to translate so well to the NFL. Little bit risky to be doing it with a team in playoff contention, really. But you talked about it. What was it, 9 interceptions, something like that?
It's got a lot of
Kirk Cousins thing, when he looked inconsistent earlier in the season at the beginning, it made sense because you're coming off of an injury, and we don't know, are you going to be able to trust that again? Since he had so many great moments, all these fourth-quarter drives, comeback wins, for him now to be regressing is what's surprising, because if you go down his stat line for this season, almost every other stat matches up. He's thrown for 3,500 yards. That matches up with the 4,000-yard seasons he's had before. Well, how many touchdowns so far? 16 to 18, something like that. But the 16 interceptions, most in his career, it's a lot, man.
Yeah. Are we ready to admit on this show that Kirk Cousins is mediocre?
He's
7 or 8 4,000 yards.
I'm not going to judge his whole career based on him in his twilight at the Atlanta Falcons. Just like I'm not going to sit here and say your take on Bryce Young was one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my life when you said he was better than Jordan Love. I'm not, because again, there's the story, most of Kirk Cousins' story has been written, right? Most of it has been written. I'm not going to sit here and say, now I'm changing my mind about Kirk Cousins' whole career because when he's 78 years old and his legs don't work, it's not working out with the Atlanta Falcons.
If he's mid, I'd love to be mid.
Yeah, God, that'd be amazing to be mid.
I'll tell you what was mid.
Maybe it was just the Vikings, because Sam Darnold's doing pretty good over there.
Yeah, right? Sam Darnold's
11-2.
He was doing well.
Hey, it's crazy.
My worst, the Rams-49ers game. Yeah. 12-6. I know that it was in the pouring rain, but there's a difference between having these defensive battles that result in low-scoring games and just bad offense, sloppy football from 2 of the best play callers that we know. Maybe they know each other so well, that's what led to a defensive battle in the rain. I don't know. Ugly. Good for me because I picked the Rams to win that division. I don't know how the 49ers are 6-8 right now, but just ugly right now.
Yeah, I feel like, God, blaming the lack of scoring on them knowing each other. It's kind of like saying, well, the only reason my kid burnt the school down is because he has ADHD. It may be a problem, but it's probably not the biggest problem you got.
I was just trying to come up with excuses.
No. I see. I'm not.
I don't know.
It was ugly. There's been a lot of that Falcons game was ugly.
Yeah.
Falcons game was incredibly ugly. But there's something else going on in football that's ugly.
Oh yeah.
And David Cone, landowner, he owns a lawn. So he has the right to tell you to get on or get off of it. But he makes a good living telling people to get off of it. So, David Cone, you old whippersnapper, you. Who's G'ing off your L today?
Well, I'll tell you as soon as they bring it up here. So you can keep talking. Why don't you keep introing it?
All right. Hey, well, every Wednesday, David, he's a landowner. He owns a lawn. And he tells people to get on or get off of it. And he makes a pretty good living telling people to get off of it. So, David Cone, who's G'ing off your L today?
Guys who let go of the football before they cross the goal line need to get off my lawn.
Hold your ball.
There's an epidemic going around all levels of football, and I think I speak for most people across this country when I say I'm tired of watching it. For these players who let go of the ball before completing a touchdown, I have one simple message. Stop doing it. This is the most avoidable mistake in all of sports. I can't imagine doing all the work it takes to be a professional athlete, up at 4 a.m., weight training, conditioning, drills, diet monitoring, then executing a play perfectly in game, only to drop the football inches from the goal line. This is worse than Kevin from The Office staying up all night to make his family chili recipe from scratch, then dropping it the second he walks into the room. And this is a perfect barometer for where we are as a society. Pro football players can't even be bothered to finish scoring a touchdown before they begin celebrating to showcase how great they are. But I'm here to offer solutions, because as long as there are no repercussions to disincentivize this, it will continue happening. Clearly, guys aren't going to get docked paychecks, as they should, or cut from teams, but can we at least come up with a universal punishment, some sort of shaming ritual to put a stop to this? Just like we all know what happens when you're golfing with buddies and you don't hit your drive past the ladies' tees, right? My proposal, if you drop a ball before entering the end zone, you must show up to the next practice wearing only the Mike Tyson. That's what it's going to take. I mean, if that doesn't shame guys into holding on to the ball, then they probably shouldn't be playing football in the first place. And for everyone else, hold on to that ball or stay off my lawn.
Look, I am all here for a good shaming ritual.
Yes.
Sign me up for a good. But and we've talked about this multiple times. Is this the worst mistake in sports? Like, this is worse than missing a layup or a dunk to me. Like a wide open. It's worse than that, because you're not having to do anything except go forward. And you're not having to jump and hold the ball and slam it in a hoop. Or, this is maybe the closest thing in baseball or in sports is if you miss a bag after hitting a home run.
Oh, yeah.
Like you step over the base and don't go back and touch it, right? It is so egregious.
Can we agree that this has gotten worse?
It has gotten worse.
Right. Like, I remember seeing it a couple times growing up, and coaches would always use it to say, hey, make sure you finish through the goal line and all this. But this problem has gotten worse.
Like how? And in that moment, in that game for the Colts
and it's worse for the pros, to be honest. Like, they're the ones getting paid.
Dude,
so what is the shaming ritual?
Well, my thing is, like, quickly though, can you imagine, like, you're the guard on offense?
Yeah.
Your job sucks.
That's
dog.
a great point.
You don't ever get the ball. I've got a back block Aaron Donald. Now I've got a combo Fletcher Cox up to one of those freaks they got at linebacker, and you can't hold. I would love to score a touchdown. Talking about holding on to the ball. Go watch Jonah Williams for the Cardinals, the offensive lineman, recover a touchdown in the end zone. He hopped on that thing like it was the Ark of the Covenant, dog.
Top 5 in football all across. Like, if a lineman scores, it's one of the coolest things in football.
I feel like it should be worth more
tackle
points.
over.
I really believe that. Like, but maybe, and I know you said it should be a shaming ritual, and you brought up you don't hit it past the ladies' tees. You know what you got to pull out for the rest of the hole. We all know that. Them's the rules. I didn't write them.
I didn't write them.
The rules.
But someone wrote them.
What if your team lost points? What if you did that, you lost a field goal? Like,
that's a literal rule change, which we don't have. We don't have the authority.
Well, you know how we have the turnover chain. What if you had, like, the dumbass hat?
Like something like that.
On the sidelines, where if you do that, they got the turnover chain, they, like, take a picture with it. You got, like, the, hey, I'm a dumbass that can't understand.
Like Red from That 70s Show is just on top.
Just something, like a dunce hat. And you got to, like, sit in the corner.
We need something for this. For guys, for this specific thing. Like every level of foot. And it's like, we can talk about docking them paychecks and all that, but that's only for pro guys. I'm talking about if you do this at any level of football, everyone just automatically knows you have to do this thing that's embarrassing the next day.
All right, I love it. Let's get to the chat and let's get to the phone lines.
All right, let's get some donations here. Let's go to a $2 donation from Clay. Trust me, the Die Hard stuff's still going on. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, Cone. # John McClane.
John McLean?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
You have the authority to ban people from the chat, right?
I've already had to ban 4 people from the chat.
Well, add him to the list.
Today. Let's go to a $2 donation from Tim. If Home Alone is a Christmas movie, then so is Die Hard.
Boom.
Put it on my stone.
There you go.
Gravestone?
Gravestone. The message disappeared. Trust me, I'm
It's all
going
good.
through it right now. Let's go to a $5 donation from TNL. What's up, man? He says, so are the officiating crews going to be mixed crews, or does home teams supply officiating in playoffs?
Well, typically, I believe the road team would get the officials. Like, you look at a lot of these, even during the regular season, like, Bama going to play Wisconsin, you probably got SEC refs. Or what I would like is if we didn't have conference affiliation for referees. I've said this a million times. But why not go get somebody from the Big 12? Why not go get a Big 12 ref crew or an ACC crew or something like that? Don't even give the appearance that there could be some bias.
All right, this is from footballzebras.com 1 week ago. Each conference has its own criteria for determining the officials assigned to a bowl game. In some cases, a conference will consider a championship game to be equivalent to a bowl assignment and not give those officials another postseason game. Bowls are, okay, here we go. The college football playoff games will be assigned to the 4 power conferences according to sources with knowledge of the process. 8 crews will be assigned to the first round playoffs and the quarterfinals.
Okay. So it doesn't say specifically. I mean, they weren't going to know the matchups before anyway, so they couldn't. I wonder if we can get just that. It should be common knowledge now who's going to officiate the games and what crew they're from. We'll keep digging into that, see if we can find
Hold on. You want the one specifically for Tennessee?
For the games. Yeah. What?
ACC.
Good. Perfect.
Jerry Magalonis, the referee.
Oh, Jerry. Oh, simple Jerry. Running up and down the field.
Barton and Bathtub.
Yellow
ACC. Big Ten is going to call the Clemson-Texas game. SEC is going to call the SMU-Penn State game.
Perfect.
And Big 12 is going to call Indiana-Notre Dame.
Man, that is so perfect.
There you go.
I'll tell you.
Call the Boise State game. That's the real question.
Yeah, Boise's. It's
Group
Ryan
5 in
Harson's
there.
crew.
Let's go to the Sunken Grave. He says some pundits predicting over 30,000 Vol fans in Ohio Stadium.
Nothing would surprise
I believe it. Vol fans travel well.
Nothing would surprise me. Coney, you tell me when you're ready to go to the phone.
All right, go one more.
Let's go to Jake Atkins. He says, I'm not caught up live, but y'all are driving me nuts, LOL. Ohio State fans are absolutely selling their tickets to make the trip to the Rose Bowl already.
Wait.
They're selling their tickets to go to the Rose Bowl?
Wait, they're selling their tickets for the home game against Tennessee to buy tickets to go to the Rose Bowl to play Oregon before they've played an elimination game at home? Why would you not want to go watch the game at your own home stadium? That'd be cooler to me.
Yeah.
If that's the excuse, then
you deserve to lose.
Then you deserve to lose. Like if it's that level of arrogance, I hope you get beat by 40 then. I really hope that's not the case.
All right, let's go to John P. What's up, man? He says, guys, I like Tennessee in this football game. I'm taking the plus 7.5. Do you have any time touchdown scores for the playoff?
God, I wish we could do player props in the state of Tennessee. God, I feel like Thornton's going to get one from Tennessee. Everybody's going to pick Dylan Sampson. I get it.
Would he be minus money, though?
I don't know. I think Thornton would be right on the plus side.
No, I'm talking about Dylan Sampson.
Oh, Dylan Sampson can be minus one.
Yeah.
For sure. 100%. On the Ohio State side,
Jeremiah Smith.
I mean, would you pick a back, whether it's Travion Henderson or Judkins or, go Jeremiah Smith, Egbuka? I don't think you'd be crazy to sprinkle some on Will Howard scoring and just running in.
Yeah, I like that one. All right, let's get to the phone lines here. We're going to start with Jordan in the Cumberland Gap, Tennessee. I already love where this call is headed. Jordan, what's going on?
All right, guys, let's start this off right. Vols by 50.
Ooh.
The fact that you get to call in to the most reputable, amazing sports show in the country is unprecedented.
Yes,
man, David Cone is a national treasure. He's dropping amazing songs day in and day out. The man filled in for the Matt Walsh show for like a week. Jake Crain has some of the best sports takes you'll hear anywhere. And Blaine, you'll be all right one day, bro.
I never thought I'd root for Ohio State. But, you're
I tell you what, we don't typically nominate for calls of the year, but this one's number one.
No, I don't think so.
Listen, I usually, I do this thing where I have to work for a living to provide for my family. And today it's raining. I'm self-employed. The mud's everywhere. I had to take my opportunity. Glad I had a chance to call in, guys. Y'all are the best. I do want to hear your predictions for the game.
Okay. Here's what I'll say. First off, appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much. Again, without you guys, there is no us. So we're very, very appreciative. Here's what I would tell you. Tomorrow, okay, because we're live streaming the Indiana-Notre Dame game Friday night, so we're not going to have a show at the normal time on Friday because we're going to have that long live stream Friday night. So tomorrow, not only will you get a prediction from us on who we think is going to win the Tennessee-Ohio State game, we're going to give you our individual bracket breakdown of who wins all the way through the national championship and give you some locks, leans, and dogs so you can maybe supplement a little bit of that income maybe lost today because of the weather.
But here's the question, Jordan, because I'm with Jake. I'm not going to reveal my pick until tomorrow. How do Tennessee fans feel now about me picking y'all? Remember there was this whole thing where I was the jinx, but then Vols baseball won the championship, so that was over. I mean, do you guys want me picking you in this game, or do you want me to stay with the Buckeyes?
Oh, listen, I was totally there for a while. So I started listening to the show just before football season last year. And I was kind of, wore out with sports. I've coached my whole life, yada, yada. And then I started listening to the show. I started getting back to it. And then, this curse comes up. My man, David Cone, he's picking the Vols and we're losing. I'm like, this is horrible. This is bad. But then the Vols win the national championship in baseball, totally redeemed. Pick them every day. Pick them every night.
In the waters. Sometimes you got to go through hell, a little bit of hell to get to heaven. That's what I feel like with David Cone. Now, he is the mantle carrier for the Tennessee
football curse.
luck charm. I don't think it's a football. I think it's all-encompassing.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for calling.
Great call, man.
Hold down the Cumberland Gap for us, all right? Let's go to Andrew in the great state of Kansas. What's going on, Andrew?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, guys. How are you guys?
Doing good, man. What's up?
Good. Hey, I want to start off, Justine, congratulations on your recent win there on Matt Walsh's show.
Thank you so much.
But I think that we know why you're not working as hard as you should be. Do my boy Jake a solid, and let's get that promo video at the very beginning of the show updated. We need Skinny Jake on that.
Yeah, look, I'll actually say every morning I wake up and watch that intro and then look at fat pictures of myself to give me motivation to just not go tear into the refrigerator
it's
at night.
Like it's off dodgeball, right?
Yeah, White Goodman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To eat the pizza.
Yeah, I got the buzzer. You should meet my consigliere.
But you know how it goes.
Oh, man. So I liked the point that Cone made earlier about the Tennessee and Ohio State game. And I'm wondering if maybe it's just a ploy. It's a good thought, and they'll come out, midway through the third quarter and, let's say it's 90% Ohio State fans and be, oh no, the intern missed the decimal place on what we thought the ticket sales were. Oops.
Yeah. I just think if you're manufacturing adversity at this point, you're going to lose.
Well, it's just like,
I
hate to use this phrase because it's been co-opted and absolutely weakened. But like the vibes around this game just are hitting so much harder for Tennessee. It just feels like Tennessee is together, man. And like Ohio State, like they're together, but God, I don't trust Ryan Day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just feels like this entity is coming up to invade. And they're going to invade this place. And the place they're going to invade, the people kind of like the emperor, but he keeps making, there's food
Public
shortages and stuff.
Yeah.
So like they wouldn't care if he's killed them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This comes down to who has the better technology.
There hasn't been this much north-south tension since the War of Northern Aggression.
Look, I'm almost dressed up like Abe Lincoln today to calm everybody's ass down a little bit.
Some vampires.
Yeah, well, we know.
I'll tell you what, you dressed up as the Undertaker and you dressed up as Abe Lincoln in the same day. That's a little much for me to handle.
You could
talk about a party.
All I know is it's going to be a wild game. That's for sure.
Definitely. Hey, you going to watch the live stream Friday, Notre Dame, Indiana, with us?
Hopefully.
Good. Well, I'm planning on you being there now.
One last point there. I don't know if Die Hard's a Christmas movie or not. I've never seen it. So, there you go.
Good.
Well, look, what's tonight? Wednesday night?
Okay.
Go
All
home.
right, good. Andrew, I'm glad. Listen, this is why we're here.
Go watch it in the summer when it got released.
No, go watch it and report back. They released it in the summer to get a jump on Christmas. That's how much they care.
So you
Walmart's releasing Christmas movies in June.
Okay.
They wanted to get a jump on it.
Yeah. So you got church tonight. What's Thursday night looking like for you? You open or not?
Well, I could watch it, Gotta talk the wife into it.
Okay. Here's what you do. You go back, you watch Die Hard, right? Not Die Hard 2, not Die Hard 9, still hard, right? You Die Hard the original one, and you come back and report to us.
Appreciate it, Andrew.
Great call, man.
Thanks, man.
See you Friday.
All right, let's go to Michael in Texas. What's up, Michael?
Happy Hump Day, guys.
What's up, dude?
I wanted to add to the whole dropping the ball before you reach the end zone. I've actually got my own solutions as far as punishment goes for players who do that sort of stuff.
Deportation?
Maybe, but no.
Okay, that's B. That's plan B. Mm-hmm. That's B.
That's plan B, yeah. So I call mine the 3-strike rule. So the first strike, you drop the ball, and this can apply to college too, since we have NIL now, it's a game check. You lose a game check if you drop the ball. Strike 2, and this will be a benefit to the people who bet on the games. You find one guy who bet on you to score a touchdown, and he lost that bet because of what you did. You give that guy the winnings he was owed from your paycheck. That's strike 2.
I'm all for that.
Max $500,000, just to keep it fair. Strike 3, cut from the team and blacklisted from all of football, pro, college.
If you do it 3 times,
yeah.
Wow.
If you do it 3 times, you may should be exiled. You should be. You may have to if you do it 3 times, you may have to do 2 years military service.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Well, if you do it 3 times, I want to see what your bets look like.
Yeah, I need to see your DraftKings account.
That one Jonathan Taylor one, that cost some people their fantasy football season.
Bro, that may cost the Colts the playoffs, dog.
Wow.
When you look at that game, I had, no joke, Blaine's over at my house. I've got an 8-team NFL parlay, okay, that's mixed with sides and overs and unders. My last leg is the Broncos money line, and I hit all the legs before that. So 7 out of 8, they're asking me to cash out. It's for $600, to win $600, 10 to win $600. They're asking me to cash out for $300. I'm sitting there do I cash out? It's 13-7. And all of a sudden, Jonathan Taylor runs in the end zone to make it what should have been 19-7. And right before I'm about to cash out, they're sitting there holding the extra point. I'm like, what? I'm like, there's only one thing they could be looking at because he was untouched. He had to drop the ball, and he did. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Great call, Mike.
Appreciate the ideas, Michael.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, man. All right, let's go to Nick in South Carolina. What's up, Nick?
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
What's up, Nick?
What's up, man?
I just wanted to kind of educate Blaine on my YouTube handle is Matt Walsh's Alien, not Matt.
Oh, okay. Well, things go really fast in the chat, and sometimes donations disappear.
You got that book that they sent
I have to remember him off of my head, so I'm sorry, Mr. Perfect.
Wait, what was that? What was that book? Here's how to read good and stuff?
That's right. No, I'm just kidding with you. So to piggyback on the last call, I have a solution, too. You would think that they would present it as an HR introduction. I mean, I've never been in the NFL, but I imagine you have to sit through orientation, and you would think that they could maybe spin it as a Michael Scott, okay, fellas, let's not drop the ball, and I'm going to do a Savannah skit. Here's what you do. I would think that, but also wasn't Deshaun Jackson the one that started this epidemic? Wasn't he the most famous one that started it when he played for the Eagles?
Didn't he do
No, he did in college.
He did it in college too.
Yeah.
The Eagles one played, I think, during the video.
Yeah, he did it in college and NFL. But
what's worse, or are they the same? Dropping the ball when you're untouched going into the end zone to celebrate, or missing a base after you hit a home run and them appealing in and you're out? Which is worse?
Both are unacceptable.
Both are so bad.
Which is harder?
Well, I don't know. They're equally. I'm trying to think of something in basketball.
It's harder to hit a home run. in baseball than it is to score a touchdown in the NFL, I would think.
I agree with that.
So I think it'd almost be worse if you missed a bag.
But that's the point. Is like you've already done the hard work. You did the hard work by hitting the home run, and then you miss a bag. With the touchdown, you did all the hard work, not just in the lead up to the game and training and all that. Whatever you did to break wide open so you're about to cross the goal line, you did the hardest part. And you can't finish the drill?
Dude, it's just, it's baffling to me.
I'll never understand it.
It's baffling.
I love that you brought up the offensive guard. Like, what's that guy supposed to do?
God, I'd be so pissed. Like, dude, you know what I got to do? Guess what? I gotta base block this thing in front of, like, look, there's Tariq Armstead. I got to base block him, but you won't hold on to the ball to cross the end zone and where you're going to get all the chicks. I don't see a lot of offensive guards making out with the cheerleaders after the game.
Yeah, like playing offensive line sucks.
Yeah, it's
like, nobody likes it.
Like it's.
I love the show, man. You guys make me laugh so much. I appreciate it. Everything.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to Gus in Columbus. What's up, Gus? Talk to us, man.
The Gus Bus.
Is this David Cone?
He's here.
Present.
Well, let me tell you who this is. This is Gus Johnson here. Let me tell you something, David Cone. You got a problem with me calling the day. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Cone. I'll be calling this game for all the years to come. Okay? So I suggest you get used to Donovan Edwards running down the sideline with the ball. You better get used to it, Mr. Cone. You and Darby Lou better get used to hearing me call this game. Because I'm going to be here for a long time, brother.
Now, that's who should be calling the game. That guy.
Honestly, though, when you go back to that Michigan-Ohio State game, and look, I think commentators having personality, that's great. That's fantastic. I feel like Gus Johnson had a mental break during, like, the Ohio State-Michigan game. Like, when Boy threw the pick, when Davis Warren threw the pick to Ohio State on the goal line, did you hear? He was, like, speaking in tongues. He's like, it was like he was talking to that snake on Harry Potter.
Oh, my goodness. He didn't like celebrating at midfield, did he?
Dude, he loves Ohio State. God, you think... Go ahead. Go ahead, Gus.
My question to Crain and Company is, do you want to know who is behind the voice of the real Gus Johnson, or should it remain a mystery?
I think it should remain a mystery. And if Ohio State loses, you got to out.
Yes. If Ohio State loses, you got to call and tell us your real name.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you are Gus Johnson from Columbus every time you call in.
Yeah. Gus, what's your prediction for this game?
Agrees with you. And Company, and a ho, Merry Christmas to you.
Hey, good luck making your next hotel commercial.
Oh, of all the things I didn't think would happen today. Gus Johnson calling in the show. What's the chat saying?
The Gus Bus. All right, let's get to the... actually, thank you, David. Before we get to the chat, I want to talk about responsibility and men. All right? And let's put them together. You want to be a responsible man in all aspects of your life, right? Taking care of your business, financially, in the community, maybe as the leader of a family. But you also got to be responsible when it comes to your diet. Look, we got a bunch of processed foods and stuff going on. We know. I had some fruit snacks earlier today. There's no chance there was fruit in them. But if you want to supplement your diet, all right, and you want a multivitamin that is jam-packed, nay, loaded, stuffed, and smothered with 33 key ingredients that support your immune system, sharpen your brain, and keep your heart and muscle strong, well, guess what? Surprise, surprise. The Daily Wire's venture company, Responsible Man, has come up with some beautifully tasting minty vitamins that are good for you, that help you in every aspect. Ladies, if you don't feel like your man's getting the nutrients, you don't have to keep hiding broccoli under the mashed potatoes. That's not going to work for much longer. Why don't you get him Responsible Man? All right, you can also take advantage of their sale and get 30% off your order plus an additional $20 off your first shipment when you head over to responsibleman.com and you use code BOOSTER at checkout. But hurry, this deal's not going to last long. Remember, gentlemen, a strong America needs strong men, and strong men start with taking this vitamin. 33 key ingredients to help you out. It's responsibleman.com. Use code BOOSTER for 30% off plus an additional $20 off your first shipment. And believe me, I've been in the warehouse. We getting it done over there, brother mine. All right, chat.
So the T-Pro 83 said, did you even talk about the Washington State coach leaving as soon as his quarterback said he wasn't coming back? clown system of transferring?
Well, here's the interesting part. Now that Coach Dickert left Washington State for Wake Forest, they're saying that the offensive coordinator who went to Oklahoma, which was the main reason they were going to get Johnny Mateer, may now go be the head coach at Washington State, which means Mateer could go back to Washington State if that's the guy he wants to go with. So we always talk about the domino effect in the transfer portal. I don't blame the guy for leaving Washington State.
How
Not
funny.
one bit. Like, is Wake Forest that much better, though? At least you don't have to worry about the ACC, really.
But, like, right when Dave Clawson stepped down and we were talking about that, wasn't it you who said, man, who's ever recruiting all these great quarterbacks to Washington State, like, he needs to go get a head job. We were talking about, hey, what if he was the head coach at Wake Forest? Well, that's what happened.
Yeah, and, like, but again, you know, if Mateer was going to leave Washington State, he would already, I think, and to follow Dickert, the head coach, I think he would have already said, hey, I'm going to Wake Forest now, it's done. I think it's more with the Arbuckle guy, and if you're an Oklahoma fan, you know, how could Arbuckle turn down being the head coach, right? It's kind of it's a little bit of a parallel there to me and was the OC for Kalen DeBoer that went with him to Bama, not Ryan Huff. God, I can't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about.
He's with the Seahawks.
But then when got asked to go be the OC of the Seahawks, like, you're not going to turn that down, right? Especially being from where he was and coaching where they were. So a lot of the dominoes that happened in
Ryan Grubb.
Ryan Grubb. Why do I want to say Ryan Huff?
Also, quickly, before you go to the chat, I have one correction that I have to issue from this week. When we were talking about that whole situation of Rich Rod going back to West Virginia, then we were talking about UCF, and I was trying to remember, did Scott Frost coach UCF before Josh Heupel, or was it the other way around? Scott Frost was the head coach at UCF for 2 seasons before Josh Heupel, then Josh Heupel for 3 years. Remember, Scott Frost was 13-0, and that's when they were saying,
this one
we're national champs, and they put that up. Then Josh Heupel for 3 years, while Scott Frost went off to Nebraska, and then Josh Heupel went off.
I thought you said it right. I thought you said that right.
Maybe I did, maybe I can't. Someone tagged me on social media, and whether I said it right or wrong, I'm glad they helped because I just want to make sure I clarify.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Primed Up. What's up, man? Caden Salter to Colorado. Boys, the future is here.
Good pickup. Look, you got him and Juju Lewis, right, coming in as well. So you got the young guy, you got the mercenary for 1 year. I mean, if I'm a Colorado fan, I'm more excited about getting Jaheim Otis really than anything. The D lineman from Alabama. That's going to be what keeps y'all where y'all are at. You know, you're going to hit and miss some at quarterback, but getting those defensive linemen and offensive linemen, one of the reasons you won 9 games. We can talk about Travis Hunter, and we should. We can talk about Shadur Sanders, and we should. But one of the reasons y'all won some of these games is because y'all got better up front and kept improving. That's where I think the biggest.
And how great is it to land a quarterback commit like Juju Lewis and not have to start him right as a freshman because you got someone experienced out of the transfer portal as well.
Yeah. And it just seems like a really good fit. All right, let's get to bets. The bets that we're going to get to donation. Let's get to bets 2-0. Last night we were 6-2 overall as a group. Great job, everybody, on the bets. Let's see if we can't do it again. Well, minus one person, but we'll see if they can get back on the horse tonight. Let me get Creighton -4 going to play Georgetown on the road. Listen, I don't know how many. I'm not going to make that joke. Creighton -4. Then tonight, all right, here's an interesting situation for you. Veldkamp from Western Kentucky, the quarterback, is in the transfer portal, but he's going to play for Western Kentucky. So he's playing while in the transfer portal. Pretty cool situation there. I like Western Kentucky +7.5 tonight. Probably like the under 2, to be honest with you. I believe it's at 50. So that's going to be -112. James Madison. More of an Ashley Madison guy myself. Go ahead, Cone.
All right, I like it. Man, Memphis, West Virginia sure turned into a shootout, didn't it? After a slow
what
first
a beautiful
quarter.
over in the Memphis TTP.
I love watching Seth Hennigan play, man. Kid's a gamer.
NFL player to you?
He will get a shot. I think he wants to coach, though.
Yeah.
I think he'll play on Sunday to be like a backup or third-string guy for a little bit, then get into coaching. I'm going to take the UNLV Cal under 46, -110. I think there's going to be a lot of running of the football. And then you got Western Kentucky +7.5.
Yeah, you know
Let's be bet buds. +7.5, -112 on the odds.
Oh, God. Ever since Army gave up that last touchdown to Tulane, I mean, my betting has just been atrocious. All right, 0-2 yesterday, but we're going to get back on it today. I'm also going Western Kentucky +7.5, -112. So if one misses it, boys, we all miss it. And then I'm going the over. And West Kentucky, James Madison, over 49.5, because why not? All right, points. No. -115. Let's get it done.
All right, Ace, what do you got? 2-0 last night. Congratulations. That Florida basketball bet was so good, even though they scared me. Oh, God, scared me at the end. They're able to figure it out. UNLV, money line, playing Cal tonight. No Mendoza at Cal. I think, UNLV, I know they got Dan Mullins, the new head coach. The only thing that scares me about I've got the under in a parlay of Cal and UNLV. I've hit the first 4 games in this parlay. Is that will UNLV score 55?
Is this last leg?
No, it's like halfway in between. It's a big one. And then Oklahoma, MIB, also known as men's basketball, +4 at home tonight against
Michigan.
Some good hoops on tonight as well. Let's make some money. Let's get to the donuts.
All right, let's get these donations. Guys, if you donated and your name's too messed up, I'm just not going to read it.
What is the level of mess? Like where?
I don't know. I haven't came to and said, you can say this, you can't say this. Nobody's in my ear saying anything. So we have a $2 donation from Blaine Crane's crippling with something after that. Thoughts of Dickert to Wake Forest.
I think it's a really good hire for Wake Forest. I think he was just ready to get out of town with all the craziness at Washington State. You know, the stuff with the conference, and you keep losing your quarterbacks. I think he just wanted to change the scenery. Not that Wake Forest is some huge upgrade, over what they got going on in Pullman, but I see why he did it.
So, a $5 donation from Ryan. Appreciate it. With David's logic, is any movie that has the theme of love, family, forgiveness considered a Christmas movie? Then?
Well, it has to have the Christmas setting that reinforces those central themes. I think is as specific of a definition as we can set, which I think would be a great challenge for someone to say, man, could we actually make a movie that takes place in July and figure out a way to make it a Christmas movie? Again, if we're not going to make the story revolve around Jesus Christ, like Christ in Christmas, then you can make anything work. Just show a reindeer with eggnog.
God, that'd be crazy.
$20
alcohol in it.
$20 donation from the Gambler. He says, all of USC starting receivers hit the portal.
Yep.
No Miller Moss, A&M -3.5. Auto smash. What's the best fit for Zachariah Branch?
Like, I bought that down to 2.5 and put a lot on it for A&M. As far as Zachariah Branch, I saw the list of schools. There was like 6. It was like, I know Florida was one of them. I mean, it's your typical big dogs. I'm just like, okay, what's the level for Lincoln Riley next year? Like, it's not like, oh, Miller Moss moved on, your quarterback moved on. Like, you're losing, like, everybody, dog. I know USC's got some good players coming in, but you win 6 games next year, I don't know. Like, I don't think enough people are talking about that.
Let's go to $2 donation from Hacking 101 YT. It says, guys, I need guaranteed anytime touchdowns for playoff games.
For college football playoff games. Mm-hmm. I've got to look at the odds because we can't do player props in this. Explain to me how this makes sense. All right? Everybody that works in the realm that could affect this in the state of Tennessee. How can we have all of sports betting, including betting on college football games, but you don't allow player props from college players? What's going on? Like, that's where you draw the line? It's like, I don't know, you draw the line at the deli aisle? Like, I don't get it. It makes no sense.
Get some cold cuts. Let's go to $20 donation from David. Appreciate it. Says, Die Hard is absolutely not a Christmas movie. The fact that there's a debate is proof of that. A true Christmas film would never be debated because it would be so obvious that it is a Christmas film. Hashtag I stand with Blaine.
That's funny he says that because I was thinking the same thing on the opposite side. The fact that there is a debate means that it is. No one's around here running around saying, is Men in Black a Christmas movie? If I said, is Men in Black a Christmas movie, you would look at me like I'm an idiot. The very fact that we can even have a debate about Die Hard, to me, says it should be included.
God, we're getting really philosophical. I love it. Look, it's an important thing.
Let's go to $5 donation from Gibby. Appreciate it, Gibby. I'm excited to see Ohio State versus Tennessee, but I would love to see Tennessee versus Oregon.
I think, God, I asked this the other day. If you're Oregon, I mean, you've already played Ohio State once. Like, I don't know if you want to play them again. And I don't think Tennessee is so much better than Ohio State. You're like, God, I'd just rather play Ohio State.
True.
And I think I'd just rather play somebody new.
$2 donation from King Don. Appreciate it. Says, who cares about Die Hard? A Wonderful Life is the best Christmas movie.
You know, I like A Wonderful Life. I just don't trust that kid in it.
It's a Wonderful Life, or are you talking about Christmas Story?
No, It's a Wonderful Life. The one
Jimmy Stewart?
No, like the kid who's like, every time a bell rings and angel gets, I don't know, something about that kid.
Yeah, it's just like Tom Hanks in Polar Express or something about him.
There's just something about that kid. I don't like, who did that kid grow up to be? Like, I wonder.
Sequel?
Everybody was a
sequel.
Baby. Every adult was a baby once.
It's a midlife.
It's a
sequel.
The Life of Kirk Cousins.
Man. Yeah, The Life of Kirk Cousins. Shut up.
$5 donation from TriStar Tim. Appreciate it. Says, late to the stream, fellas. Have y'all seen that Ohio Stadium is renamed Neyland North on Apple Maps?
Yeah, somebody on Apple Maps changed the name of it.
Are you kidding?
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is everything I had hoped for. in the college football playoff. Subterfuge, like propaganda. I mean, God, I feel like I'm in a movie right now, dog.
$10 donation from Cal. Appreciate it. Regular season model. I made split out. SMU money line. Tennessee +7. Notre Dame -7. Clemson +12. Thoughts? Which two of the three should I parlay, or should I just individually bet them all?
Oh, here's what you do. Okay, here's the parlay you put together. You take the under in Indiana Notre Dame at 51.5. Okay, then you take Texas on the money line. Then you take SMU, Penn State over whatever it is. I'm leaning there. And then you take Tennessee +7.5. There's your parlay.
I'd take Tennessee +7.5, Indiana +7.5. I wouldn't bet SMU money line. If I'm going to bet that game, I'm going to take the over. And I do like Clemson +12. I don't know if I'd parlay them. I'd bet them individually.
God, life's short. Drive fast, dog. Parlay them.
$2 donation from Blaine Crane's Crippling. He says, weak. Sorry, buddy. Can't read it. Let's go to a $2 donation from Bootylicious Blaine Crane. Jake, who is the QB name you have heard for Auburn?
It was Fafita. I had heard it was going to be Fafita at halfway through the year. Obviously, that didn't work out. I don't have the details on why not, but that was the name I was hearing.
All right, $3 donation from Laheeb. He says, the handle battles continue.
I love it.
Appreciate it, brother. That's all the donations for today. Let's get to this poll. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yes or no?
This poll will be just right on the numbers. I'm going to say
85%.
You said 85%?
Come on.
I'm going to say they said yes 53%.
Yes, 64%.
Wow. Okay.
No, 30.
There you have it.
There it is.
People.
Congratulations on your victory over Kane and The Undertaker.
You didn't beat
off the top.
I mopped you.
You beat both of them. All right, we appreciate you guys. Got a great show for you tomorrow as well. Shout out Kane, a.k.a. Mayor Glenn Jacobs, for joining us. Check out FitBod, Game Time, and Responsible Man. And like the chances of us not being super duper excitedly jacked and tan about the college football playoff, we're going. God, that would have been the catch of the year. Gone. That'd have been they'd have talked about that one like Willie Mays' catch.